Hello and happy Monday, Enchanted Sisters. It is I, Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and we can call this a little bit of a live podcast recording if you will. And if you're here watching this live on YouTube, definitely say hello in the chat. Let me know that you're here and where you're coming in from. I'm here in Connecticut, where we just had a little bit of a nor'easter roll through, leaves all over the ground this morning, and it's looking like fall out there. What I'm here to talk to you about today is a few different things, and it all ties in together. I am here to chat about AI, tarot, belonging, and sovereignty. AI, tarot, belonging, and sovereignty. And that feels like maybe this is a really wide and vast area of conversation, but it really all pulls together as very unique, I guess, and pressing topics for this moment in time that we find ourselves in. More and more, we are seeing the AI, I don't know, take over in our world. And folks have different feelings about that. I actually taught a workshop, a free workshop recently, a couple times, remaining sovereign or keep maintaining your sovereignty in the age of AI. And why that's so important as we talk about tarot and we talk about belonging. We just look at all of these big energies, right? Is that we can feel more and more and more compelled more and more and more compelled to use these AI tools that I think are actually a wonderful advantage to us as women in particular, to cut through noise, to get some clarity, to weave different ideas together that we might be experiencing. But what I think that we stand at the edge of, the risk of having happen for us, is really losing our sense of belonging and community when it comes to having other people witness us on our journeys and cheerlead us and just be there to see and hold and not give feedback, not give information, not validate us. It is so easy in our lives to look for validation, and AI will do that very thing. So we can turn to AI and say, hey, this is my tarot reading, help me navigate these cards, or I did this spread and this spread. Like coming up here in a week or so, a little more, we have the sun moving to Scorpio and a Leo, or not Leo, excuse me, a Libra new moon, and the sun and Scorpio right back to back. And so maybe you do the sun and Scorpio tarot spread and then a new moon and Libra tarot spread. And then you go to an AI tool and you say, help me weave these together, help find common themes. What am I not seeing? Distill this down for me. That's all well and good. But then we really need our communities, like everybody here together on YouTube and in our YouTube post area where you can share in the comments with each other, or if you're in any of our communities, our class communities, or you're in person, real life communities, like wherever you're finding community, to be able to then take that information and share it with humans who can see you, who can hold you, who can witness you and not validate you, not say, yes, 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 that's so good, that's so right, but really just to say, I see that you are thinking about that right now. I see that this is what's going on for you. Do you want to be cheered on? Do you want cheerleading? Do you want witnessing? Do you want holding? Do you want reflections? What do you want? And have that human grounding perspective. I think that we can learn a lesson from tarot about this age, this place that we are in when it comes to looking at these AI tools that are going to make our lives so much easier in a lot of ways. But we can look at like the suit of wands in tarot, for example, or the suit of swords in tarot, where this is very out there energy. It's very go, 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 do, 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 perfectionism, must check all the boxes, must get everything right. And that can lead to overwhelm and shutdown and making us find ways to really put ourselves back to spaces in the journey of life because we feel like we can't keep up. all of this get it right, have AI instant gratification responses. I must show up for everything. I have conflicting priorities. All of these energies, that is really very witch wound centric. When we are focused on doing things just for the sake of doing them, or we are focused on not getting things wrong, or when we allow ourselves to sort of hide back in the shadows because we feel overwhelmed or like we can't do all the perfectionist boxes, that is a direct that is the direct opposite of creation energy. That is shut down sort of energy. And when we are in that witch wound energy, that is taking us away from our creation energy. And we see that creation in the suit of pentacles and the suit of cups. So when we're in that flow and we're in that grounded belonging and we're able to be with people and we're able to, like the three of cups, have others cheer us on and celebrate other people, and the three of pentacles where we're able to work together, we can use these AI tools to really save time, save energy, and make space for ourselves. And I think that in this time of year, in October, where everything feels a little spookier, a little more liminal, we're all looking ahead to 2026, where we have that Halloween energy coming up in a couple weeks, the Samhain energy, where we are connecting with our ancestors. It's the witch's new year. We feel like the veil is thinner, and we're really asked to shed away, to compost, give everything back to the earth that is not serving us. And I think that for so many of us this time of year, what we can do is choose to, especially in the world that we're in right now, choose to find tools that support us in taking things off our plates so that we can have the time for just simple pleasure and fun, for no other purpose than for it to be fun, to be in community, to find belonging. And it's really easy to decide we don't belong because of X, Y, and Z. And those are all pieces of information, again, that we can see in the story of the tarot. And when we look at those pentacles and those cups cards, we really see when we go with that flow, when we ground, when we're in our inner worlds, we have happier endings and we can come together as people and support each other in those happier sort of endings. So, tarot is what made me want to chat with y'all today. I've been posting videos on YouTube and on the podcast about the witch wound, and I was doing some research and I saw some information about ChatGPT in particular and tarot readings and how many people are using tarot for or using ChatGPT to interpret their tarot card readings or to weave them together or to use ChatGPT as sort of their spiritual guide. And I think that these AI tools are super amazing in that they can organize our lives, they can create our calendar for us, they can create meal plans for us, they can save so much time on the home front, all of these like invisible load jobs that women carry in particular. These AI tools can help us with that. If you're a person who has a learning difference and you've never been able to, you feel like you don't communicate well, you don't write well, or you work in a corporate environment and you just struggle with the confidence to speak up and like climb the career ladder or something, I think these tools can really help with that. And particularly for women, free up brain space, give us a leg up. Right now, more men are adopting these tools than women are, which is going to further create an income gap for men and women. So I don't love that. And I think that we definitely can utilize these tools to our benefit. But when it comes to something like tarot, I also don't think that it's bad, quote unquote, to go to a chat GPT and say, help me understand this. I don't understand what I'm seeing. I don't know, whatever. But what that can really do is put us into this perfectionism loop. And that's what got me thinking about tarot and the witch wound and AI and the world that we live in right now. And when we don't have community and we don't have people to help ground us, to just see us and to be human with, not in perfectionism, everything that comes out of AI has this sort of like, this is right tone to it. It's so confident in giving us information. And what that can do ultimately is really take us away from ourselves, from our inner knowing, disconnect us from the ability to actually not know the answer, to be uncomfortable and not know what comes next, which is an amazing life skill to have. The skill of being uncomfortable and just waiting to see what happens. Looking at the cards and saying, I don't really know what this means for me, but this is my initial gut reaction. And I'm just going to sit with it for a little bit and see what comes up rather than trying to get the right answer, rather than trying to solve a problem right in any specific moment in time. And I think that for that level of groundedness to remain sovereign in our energy, we need people. We need people more than ever. More than ever, we need our people. We need people we can share with. We need people we can relax with, people we can have fun with, people that are just there to, again, maybe be a sounding board or be in community with. And I think that we are going to need that as the temptation to be perfect rises because of the perfect content, the perfect answers, the perfect reading that AI can just spit out for us. And when we are looking at that perfectionism, that really is a witch wound at play. So if you've missed my videos on the witch wound and you're watching this as I'm recording it live, you'll want to go back and check those out. But the witch wound really is this visibility wound that we have where we are afraid of rejection, we're afraid of being singled out. And it comes, from different events that have happened in the past and that are happening right now in the world all around us. And the witch wound it looks different today, but it's still there. And when we're chasing perfectionism and we're chasing immediate sort of gratification, and we don't want to feel like we're behind or we're being wasteful or we can't keep up or we're overwhelmed or it's too overwhelming trying to think about all this stuff I have to do. So I'm just going to lower my energy and be content with what is, because being content is easier than growing and growing my capacity for joy and pleasure and magic and authenticity and rising in the world so I can help raise other people up. And that's part of that witch wound. When we're in that perfectionist energy, give me the answer right now energy, um, we are really fearing rejection. And so for women in particular, I think using these AI tools is a really wonderful way to help us make strides in the world of technology, in small business, in just freeing up that invisible labor that women perform. And that's amazing, and I'm all here for it. And on the other side, I think that it has the potential for us to really deepen that witch wound, because even with whether it's words and tarot spreads, or we look at AI generated models for fashion campaigns who look perfect, where are we going to continue to see the women who are aging and have wrinkles and gray hairs? You can't see my lighting makes it so you can't see my gray hairs when I'm on live. But where are we going to see that? And that we're going to get that in belonging with humans. So as we look to, again, Samhain, I think this is all a really wonderful time of year to explore this topic and think about this in our own lives, because this is the time of year where we have that ancestral connection and we're looking at the veil thinning between our world and the everybody else who's walked this earthly plane before us and the people who made us who we are, and the witch wounds that they created, that they lived through, that they held, that got passed on to you. I mean, I don't know how many so many stories that I could come up with in my own life where I it's been reinforced to me that women should look a certain way or should behave a certain way or sit a certain way. So many times that I've been validated because of how I look, or told, I'm good because of the way that I look, not the ideas that I bring to the table, not the knowledge that I have. And that still happens to me now, even. And I think that we really do need to consciously make an effort to do things just for the heck of doing them, just for fun, just for pleasure, to be in community, to to find belonging with people. And belonging is not fitting in. Fitting in and belonging are two different things. Who wants to fit in? Fitting in is not where it's at, but finding people that you feel safe to just be to just share, to just be held in that energy, to just show up when you want to show up and dip out when you want to dip out. My good friends in life, they're all my good friends because well, we're good friends for a lot of reasons, but I belong with them. When I don't answer a text message for 3 weeks, they don't get mad at me. Like I'm still valid. I'm still wonderful. I am still there. And we can find this in our personal lives around us. We can also find it in online communities like we have here at Sisters Enchanted. You can find it in your personal life, in your online communities, wherever that is. Uh, I love online community personally. I've met my best friends through online community. And whether I'm active all the time or I just sort of check in and dip in and out, it is a wonderful, like, sort of lighthouse for me to redirect when I need it in my life. All right. One of the other words I mentioned earlier and didn't really dive into was the idea of sovereignty and what that has to do with all of this. When you're sovereign over your energy, you're sovereign over yourself, that's really being in charge of yourself. We talk about the word sovereignty with nations, like sovereign nations, and they are self-governed. And when we talk about keep maintaining sovereignty over your energy right now, particularly in a time where we have all this AI happening and we've got AI perfectionism and AI can answer your astrology questions, it can answer your tarot questions, it can just do all this stuff for you. Um, Remaining sovereign over your energy. So always coming back to yourself and like that suit of pentacles, grounding into the moment, grounding into your energy, into your body, into your people, and sort of having that kind of pulse check with humans to say, this is what I thought about this tarot reading, or this is what I think about when I see I'm an Aquarius moon in the 8th house. So this is what this means for me right now. And then maybe pop it in your AI of choice, your little chat thing. And then you take it to your people and you say, here's some stuff. I'm thinking about this right now. I just love to be witnessed in this. Or did anybody else notice this pattern in the stars right now? Here's what I saw when I was talking with the chat GPT and whatnot. Right. So AI tools, I think, can keep us really up in the clouds, really in that perfectionist sort of solar, get it done, just get the answer, do it on your own. You don't need community, you don't need people, you can just do it here. But we really do need to remain sovereign over our own energy and find belonging so that we are kind of rooted in the moment, lifting each other up, and using these tools that are available to us to make time to do things just for fun. And then also recognize when we feel overwhelmed by all of the tools, all of the hype of the world, all of the doing. And when we want to actually lower our energy because it feels easier than raising our energy. I see this happen all the time. And it's part of the witch wound where people will say, it's like contentment is the goal for folks. And this is a two sides of one coin kind of thing. I do feel like being content in your life is important. Being happy with what you have and not spending time like trying to fix everything about yourself and trying to buy all this stuff to keep up. That's no way to live. That's no way to live. And also lowering your energy because it feels too overwhelming to raise your energy. That's no way to live either. That's no way to live either. You can be content and live in the same. I've lived in my house for 15 years. It's too small. It needs too much work, all these things. And I find contentment in this choice, right? And that doesn't mean that I don't stop doing the work of trying to understand how I can make this house a home, how I can make it sacred space for myself and my family, how I can take because I make the choice to stay in this house. And it's, people say they're house poor when they've got the big house and they've got all these bills with it and all the furniture. Well, we're house rich because we have a small house and it doesn't take a lot to maintain it. So how can I then, rather than just saying, well, everything's overwhelming, let me just be content, say, well, how do I expand on this and how do I help raise energy of other people and bring this to the workplace or to people that I meet in campgrounds when I'm out camping, or at the library when I'm at the library, or in my kids' groups and whatnot, right? And so when we just say this is all overwhelming, the world's overwhelming, I don't have time, I can't learn these tools, I feel like I'm just wasting time, I can't do things. What we're really doing is falling victim to the perfectionist trap, and uh, falling back into the ease of the familiar, which becomes part of that loop feeding into the witch wound. So when we have people and we feel like we have a sense of belonging and folks who can hold us and see us and witness us, uh, that helps us to heal the witch wound for ourselves, to not fall victim to perfectionism, and to find little ways, even if it's just 30 minutes or an hour once a month, to do something fun just for the heck of it, that gets us out of the algorithmic cloud and into our bodies, into our hands, into our physical experience here on this earthly plane. All right. So I'm recording this for you live. It's sort of a live podcast, if you will. I think we're going to put the replay of this on the podcast. I'm recording it live on YouTube. But I had some extension thoughts that went along with my 4-part witch wound series that I recorded for the month of October. So if you missed part 1 and 2, those are out right now as I'm recording this. Part 3 comes out in a few days. So go ahead and check those out there on the podcast, the Stay Magic podcast, and here on YouTube. And just some extras to put in there about AI and how I just see people using AI for tarot readings and astrology more and more and more. And you know what? I'm pretty neutral to it. I don't think it's a bad. I know a lot of people think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's just a thing. No more than me putting on a black sweater today is a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing. I do think though that where what we stand to lose really is the gains we have made in creation energy. Creation energy is a feminine energy. And all of this AI instant gratification, do it for me, I think is no different than having a friend that always tells you you're right, even when you're not right, even when you're wrong. And part of the human experience is being uncomfortable with growth, uncomfortable with making time decisions when you have conflicting priorities, being uncomfortable when you want to, I don't know, maybe you get some really crazy blood work back from your doctor's appointment and you got to make some big changes, and that's really uncomfortable. And when we don't practice being uncomfortable, nothing good from that. So I will say I don't think AI is good or bad in the way that you use tarot with it, just like my sweater being black. But I do think it is not a good thing that we cannot be in discomfort. And part of that is we don't want to be rejected. We don't want to be wrong. We don't want to feel bad. And so that is all part of that witch wound. And this perfectionism that can come from using AI and the instant gratification, I think, can deepen the witch wound, pour salt right in it, and disconnect us from our creation energy. And we need people for that. We need belonging. We need the experience of being witnessed, of being celebrated, of being held, of getting together just to get together. And whether that is in person or virtual, I work online. My kids take online classes. I travel all around the eastern part of the U.S. all year long. So my good friends, I've met them all online, and then get to see them in person, and we connect on like Zoom calls and video calls, and we send photos, and we're very much connected. And I'm grateful to have digital community because it allows me to live my life in such a way that we can travel around and have that sense of belonging with people I never would have met elsewise. So, I'm all about whatever form that is for you, but we need belonging in the age of AI. We can see the lessons in tarot where we've got the wands and the swords, which are all about experience. They're all about like all this external stuff. And that's what AI is for us. It's very externalized. It's not internal, it's external. And if you know tarot, you know the ending of the wands and the swords suit is not good. And then we have the cups and the pentacles, which is more internal. That's more of our flow state. That's more our emotional body, our groundedness, like here on earth. And we need that to support all the external that is so easy for us. anymore. The external is so easy. So we need that belonging. We need that rootedness, that groundedness that we can get from human relationships. And also with the cups and the pentacles, the pentacle or the cups in particular, doing things just for the sake of doing, for celebrating, for having fun, very like page of pentacles, sort of what can I do? How can I create? What can come from this internal feeling that I'm having? How can I do something in the world to take what's internal and make it external, rather than heading to all the external and trying to make it internal? And then being aware of where we are claiming sovereignty over our energy by saying, I don't have time for belonging. I don't have time to do this. I'm a failure. I can't go to the women's group. I can't, whatever. And just knowing that that's another form of the witch wound in action. The feeling that you have to be perfect to do something, and you have to show up for everything, and you have to be a certain way. When you truly belong in community, whether it's at a religious center, if you're a religious person, if it's at a women's book club at the library, it's in an online community like ones we have, uh, belonging doesn't require you to spend all your time in the community in order to belong. When you truly belong, you're welcomed when you show up. You're welcomed when you show up. You're welcomed back with a hug as if you never left. That's the kind of belonging that we all need right now. And it's the kind of belonging that I hope, I can inspire you to go out there and create in the world that you are living in as well. But we have to free ourselves from perfectionism. We have to free ourselves from the chasing time and saying, I don't have time for belonging. I don't have time for anything, let alone finding relationships, and also understanding where we are just easing into contentment because we don't like the discomfort that comes with not being content. Your life can be you don't need to change your life to expand your energy. Your life can stay the same and you can expand your energy. Uh, when we look at the universe, that idea is the universe was born out of chaos, and then it came into order, and we had the planets, and everything came through. And when we and everything's still forming, right? Stuff shifting all the time. So new stars are being born, stars are dying out, like planets change, everything's changing, space is changing. The chaos is still coming into order. And when we in our own lives just decide that we are going to stop harnessing that energy, stop bringing it into order, right? Like we're going to not keep creating with it. We just fall into contentment because we're not comfortable, we're uncomfortable. It's a discomfort situation to be creating and to be looking and reflecting. I honestly think that that's a witch wound cop out. I will just say it. I'll say it like just say it as it is. I think that that is a witch wound cop out. Uh, I'm certainly not over here trying to make myself better every day and saying, how can I fail less and be better and do all this self-help and like, I don't know, make my house better and just be better, 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 better. That is not the case. However, when we fall into contentment, that is when we actually fall into chaos because we are no longer directing the alignment of our energy. We're no longer saying, actually, I want to experience this trip of a lifetime in 3 years. So, how do I make that happen? Or actually, I don't want my blood work to come back and tell me I'm diabetic next month. So, how do I make that happen? Or actually, I don't super love that I can't sleep at night when I stay up watching murder mysteries. So how do I take that chaos and bring it into order and in alignment with my energy? Right. And I think that contentment, frankly, is a witch wound cop out. It feels more comfortable than being uncomfortable. And that's the witch wound. Being visible is uncomfortable. Failing is uncomfortable. Being rejected by people that you love, people that can see you, that's uncomfortable. It's all uncomfortable. Not keeping up is uncomfortable. Getting these perfect answers from AI and then like not being able to articulate it yourself, that's uncomfortable. And I think that that really is just the witch wound in action. So there's some extra thoughts for you that I had brewing after I recorded my 4-part series. Parts 1 and 2 are out. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch that. I see some comments here about this and don't want to feel content anymore. Just start doing something about it. Yeah, I think raising energy is a journey. Bringing chaos into order is a journey. just a little bit each and every day. But another reason we need people and humans to see us and witness us and say, I see you in that thing that you did that doesn't seem that big, but is actually really, really huge. Witnessing is so powerful. And I wish more people would do that and have a practice of witnessing in their life with people who they belong with unconditionally. And that's, again, different than fitting in. So I talked about that in part 2 of the series if you haven't seen it. I am hosting a free class starting Monday. I'll pop the comment that or the link in here in the chat if you're here. It is a where is it? There it is. We're talking about the witch wound next week. And we're gonna do a ritual at the end of the week and yeah, be in community together. So go ahead and check that out if you're not registered for it. We'd love to have you. And I see the comment. I think a lot of us convince ourselves we should be content and stop reaching for more, and it gets us stuck. Yeah, for sure. And I think that there is a certain like taste in our, was it that a bad taste that comes to us when we talk about wanting more or we talk about growth. And that can feel very solar and very like patriarchy, consumerist sort of thing. And I think we can look at this idea of contentment and growth in two different ways. There is, if we're looking at tarot, that wands, swords, sort of solar out there where we're like bigger house, more money, get, 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 get. But then there's also that internal where we are expanding our ability to say yes to the things that make us feel alive and just put up a boundary and say no to the things that drain us and hold that energy so we can teach it to other people. The people who, whether it's children or your adult children or your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors, the people you work with, if you're a woman and you have younger women coming up and looking up to you, when you're doing that internal expansion, it's not about let me do more, let me grow, let me fix something about me. It's really about the inner energetic, I don't even know, it's like your heart chakra just opening up and creating room for other people to try things, other people to be witnessed, other people to be visible and to make mistakes and to fail. And then having that unconditional love energy that can make people feel like they belong even when they've checked out or when they, had a misstep, that you'll welcome them back in and it's okay to be human. So it's two different kinds of growth, but to grow so that we are feeling safe and self-trusting and confident in ourselves, that doesn't have anything to do necessarily with like, let me get better in the world, let me work more, let me get thinner, let me have more money, whatever. I mean, I don't think that having more money is a bad thing either, but that's a topic for another day. But this contentment in our energy and our heart center, I think that's the witch wound. That's like settling. And with particularly all the media that we have access to, all the news we're hearing all the time, all the things that are going on, and man, is it hard out there. And I think that is where we can be in belonging and have people witness us and support us and heal the witch wound by working on that inner energy. And it's not fixing yourself, it's growing the energy so that there is more to go around and setting that example for other people who don't have that set for them, who just they don't have that. And would and they can benefit from that growth. And that's internal, that's not external. And it's not about fixing yourself. It's about belonging in yourself enough that you can allow for other people to feel like they belong as well. When you belonged in yourself, in your self-trust, and this is that sovereignty over AI, right? Or remaining sovereign in the age of AI. When you feel like you belong in your heart center, other people cannot make you like you can't read a social media post and just want to throw a brick through a window. I mean, okay, not you can't. That's I feel like I belong pretty well in myself, and sometimes I feel that way. But you bring it back to center very quickly, and you're like, no, I'm gonna pass on that reaction because it's not helpful right now. So When you belong in yourself, that is when you can create belonging for other people and not start grouping as like good, everything's good and bad, right? But that feels uncomfortable also. And we feel like, I think that inner growth journey, that energetic growth can get to a point where we say, we start to chase perfection and we question ourselves. And the easiest thing to do is just say, oh, well, I don't, I'm just gonna be content with what is because the latter is harder. It's harder to maintain and grow a high level of energy, and um, and that's very different, that inner than the outer. So two different things, but we can confuse them very, very quickly. And again, and I see Sarah sharing, I used to live comfortably and being content. So this is a huge aha moment for me. Yeah, like I look around, I mean, I'm content. My house it needs work. It's too small for us. It needs work. Um, but I'm not over here like trying to, I'm content in the house. And that's not a bad thing, right? However, what can I do though to raise the energy of this, to change, not change, to grow my energy in such a way that I treat my house differently. I treat the experience of my home differently, how I think about it differently, right? And that takes work. It would be much easier to just not think about it or be mad at it. It's harder to align to future desires that feel uncomfortable right now. Uh, and like I'm self-employed, and that comes with a lot of different. I don't have a lot of baked in backup plans when you work with a company. And so when I think like, oh, I just want to move somewhere else, or I want to do this or remodel or whatever, and then bringing myself into contentment, it's about raising my energy to align to the future, and the future is where I don't have to worry about being house poor because I was uncomfortable today. And so that's the inner work I have to do to be in the circumstance that I'm in. And starting with that, though, that inner work. And when you find people who you belong with, that is easier to do. All right. Enough of this chatter. I was not planning to be on here for so long. Once I get going, there's no stopping me. I'll put that sign up link here again. If you're not registered for our event that starts next week, we would love to have you. As always, we've got some extras for you waiting right away that you can access when you sign up. Bring a friend. Everything's better in belonging. If you feel like you don't belong anywhere, then certainly come hang out with us. uh, and enjoy the experience. All right, y'all. I appreciate those of you who took some time to stop here today and join me in this live YouTube live situation and say hi in the comments. I know your time is your most precious resource, and I never want to waste it. So I hope you got some little bit of gold from this today to take with you as you meander into the week ahead. All right, y'all. Well, have a good one and stay magic out there. Bye.